business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't about profit, it's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal, every decision, and every day. Today's guest is going to light you up. You'll be motivated, you'll be challenged, and most importantly, you'll walk away with the tools that inspire action both in your life and in your business. How cool is that? And before we dive in today, here's your homework, audience. How will you serve yourself and someone else today? And what impact are you going to create today? Because that's what we want to do every day, is make that impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game for anybody. So lean in, take notes. Let's discover how servant leadership in business and life can create ripple effects that last far beyond the bottom line. I want to thank my incredible sponsor, Pantheon, a community where big thinkers come to grow, challenge norms, and create real impact. If you're ready to lead with purpose and connect with others doing the same, this is where you belong. Find the link in the show notes and step into the conversation. Hey, and a quick shout out to Epic Impact, the 4-step storytelling framework that's transformed how I pitch, post, and podcast. If you're a coach, founder, or creative trying to connect with your audience and move them to action, this is your secret weapon. Engage, persuade, inspire, and close. I use it every day and it works. AI alone can't tell your story, but paired with the proven Epic framework, it can work and it can move mountains and it can work mountains sometimes. Grab your free Epic starter kit at epicimpact.com and start engaging hearts, persuading minds, and inspiring action with every message. And I'm excited to announce all you audience and guests out there, we just hit top 20 in small business marketing, actually number 6. So I want to shout out and thank all of you because we're inspiring and we're motivating and really educating people and making that impact. With that being said, I've got a mompreneur today. I'm fired up because I love women. I think they're taking over business. Let's welcome Shae to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Thank you so much. And congratulations on being a top 20 podcast. That's a huge award and something to definitely celebrate and be proud of for sure.
Guess what? We're going to celebrate with a great guest, you. So let's do
I
it.
love that. Let's do it.
Mompreneur is kind of your theme, your mantra. You're a mom with kids and a husband, and you're a realtor, which are 2 tough businesses. Why'd you get into that?
So, I mean, it kind of started about 9 years ago. I was actually working as a case manager for mentally ill adults. I was making about $25,000 a year. And my husband, one morning at like 6 o'clock, he called me. He's like, hey, there's a free seminar when it comes to like real estate investing. I want to do that. And like, we don't come from a real estate background at all. He was an electrician and I said, okay, let's kind of start having that conversation. Well, fast forward, we invested $25,000. We put it all on credit cards. There's a lot more to this story. But we invested $25,000 to get started in real estate investing. It was the best decision we had ever made, but one of the absolute hardest. And we were able to pay off that $25,000 over the next year while both of us were working full time. We had 2 little ones. We had a mortgage. I mean, all of the things. Again, one of the hardest years. I would never want to go back and relive it. It was extremely difficult between my husband and I, our marriage, our relationship with our kids, and finances. The finances was so tough. But we made it work. We got through it. And after doing investment properties for about 1.5 years, 2 years, I decided to get my real estate license. So in 2018, I got my real estate license, and my husband and I discussed that once I hit a certain income, he could leave his job and get his real estate license as well, because he wanted to sell land. He loves hunting. He loves recreational ground. I was able to hit that in 2 years. And so he quit his corporate job and went to self-employment within a couple of years. So it was fantastic and we've been extremely blessed, but that does not mean that it has not been difficult. So
yeah. So you're telling me couples like you can be self-employed each, because I know that's some of the dreams of some couples I talk to. It can happen, right?
Very much so, but it's tough. Like, you don't realize, I mean, he had the health insurance, he had the 401k, he had all of the security that we knew we were going to be walking away from. And when you're self-employed, especially when you're both parties are self-employed, health insurance is not only harder to find, but it's also a lot more expensive. And I kind of went through where I had decent health insurance for the family, switched over to something else. It was an epic fail. And I just switched back last month to the previous one, but the premiums went up. You know, they went up $300-$400 a month just because of us switching. So I'm kind of kicking myself, but at the same time, it's frustrating. So there's a lot of hurdles, a lot of challenges, a lot of things you don't realize when you're self-employed, when you both are.
Well, this is fantastic. And here's why I get asked a lot. When do I leave my job? When do I go into entrepreneurship? Since you guys lived it, you and your husband, what's a piece of advice you'd give somebody listening and thinking about doing that?
You know, we set a limit when I'll put it out there. We set it like, hey, when I can make $120,000, which was enough to cover what he made plus what I made prior, plus giving us a little bit of cushion room on like health insurance and retirement and things like that. We said once I can get to $120,000, now that was GCI, that wasn't net, but once I can get to 120,000, we would feel comfortable enough for him to be able to move on. I hit that within the first year and a half. And so, I mean, it's only gone better since then. So even $120,000, that was pre-COVID. $120,000 today with a couple and a family is very hard to make a living off of. I don't know how people would be able to do it, but so setting that limit, like knowing what are your expenses, what are your childcare, what do you pay for all of these different expenses, and giving yourself a little bit more cushion room. So working towards that when you can hit X amount. Now, if you're working a full-time job and also doing something on the part-time, sometimes you just have to kind of like go in at it 100% and have faith that it's going to come to fruition. You know, that's what I did when I got into real estate is I quit my job, even though that's what paid for childcare. As part of the benefits, there was also 401k and a lot of other things that I quit and I said, no, I'm doing this 100%. I'm going to give it my all. And I have never looked back. Have I questioned things? Absolutely. Have I stressed about it? 100%. But I would never take it back.
That's 100% that's going to happen if you're listening. And what's really cool to your story, what you're telling is the numbers tell the story. What are your numbers? Don't do it without numbers. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Moms, the hardest job in the world. I'm male, so I don't even have kids. So I'm even farther back in the spectrum. It's probably the wrong word, but you guys get it, audience. How does a mom listening go, I really like it, maybe just a part-time job? How do we dive into this?
Part-time is tough in real estate, as maybe you know, and a lot of your other listeners, it's hard to do real estate part-time. It truly is because there's so many things that go on in the real estate world. There's so many changes. There's so many things that impact and affect your ability to do it part-time. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done. I know agents who do it part-time, but I would say it also holds them back from them being able to live it to their full capacity. What is really nice is if you are doing it full-time, you don't have to work 60, 70, 80 hours the way I probably do sometimes. But I do love real estate. Like I love everything about it. There's going to be things that I don't enjoy, but you do have a little bit more flexibility. So on Friday this week, my daughter all of a sudden has a field trip and she wants me to go with to the Pawnee Park Plunge. It's a water park here locally. And okay, you know what? That means that I'm moving some things around last minute. I'm shuffling because I will make it a priority. She didn't even ask me if I wanted to go. She actually just assumed. So that just kind of implied that I'm going to be there. So that means I'm moving some things around and I might have to do a couple hours on Saturday of work, you know? So, I mean, it's about being able to adapt and shift and being flexible with schedules. If you are an analytical person, and you have to wake up knowing exactly what you're going to do that day, it's going to be very difficult. Because I can plan my day out and I will tell you 100% that it will not happen that way at all.
Yeah, I like that you said about real estate. There's so many things you can do, moms out there. I'm glad you say if you're not going to go full-time, probably find something else. But you said in your conversation, which I'm going to say love, you said love twice. I love, but how important is that purpose, that love of what you do for mompreneurs?
It is very important. And it's interesting because that purpose can shift. I found that I'm not going to want to always do real estate. I'm not going to help people buy and sell for the rest of my life. I know I don't want to do that. I do love helping people. And so your purpose your purpose can remain the same, but how you serve in that purpose might shift a little bit. So I'm kind of going through a little bit of that and kind of going back to doing it part-time. Like if you truly want to do it part-time and you can't handle the stress of sellers and buyers and all those things, you could even partner up with an agent. So for me, example, I am looking for even somebody who is part-time to help with showings, to help with open houses, that I can be the face of it, but if you could just help me navigate showing requests and open houses, and that can truly be a part-time gig. So you just find somebody who's very specialized and known in the market and very busy, go to them like, how can I help you? How can I help level you up? Because I have a new agent who just joined and another one who's going to be joining, but she did a couple open houses for me and she generated a buyer lead off of that, you know? So like, that's what you can do if you truly want to do it part-time, is find somebody who is successful in the market, partner up with them, and you might be able to take it on full-time later on down the road.
That's genius. You're a smart lady. Holy moly. Because
AB in school.
go ahead. Yeah. Well,
Those are my grades. I was not top of my class. So just know, you don't have to be smart. You just, you
No.
don't. Like, people think that you have to be some brilliant, you just have to have personal relations. You have to be like rational. And I was an AB student, but I grind. I'm hungry. I have grit. Like, I got all those things.
Yeah. Partnerships are the key. And that's what you're doing. Because that's what I've made tons of money with partnerships. And especially mompreneur or you entrepreneur men out there, have a tribe, have a community, have a mentor, whoever that is. Yeah. So mom gets involved. What do they do about the kids and the family schedule and all that? Because that's the other side of all this, right?
It is. It is. So I've always had a daycare, you know, and I know some moms are like, no, we don't want to put our kids in daycare. Totally get that. I've also had to take my kids with me to listing appointments and showings and open houses and all those things. Now I make sure I'm very transparent with my sellers or buyers that, hey, you know, I'm gonna have to bring my kids along with. I've never had anybody say no, we don't want them around. My kids are very well behaved for the most part. They're still kids, but we don't even do technology. You know, I've never sat them down and given them an iPad or a phone to kind of keep themselves busy. Would that be easier at times? Absolutely. But I know in the long run, it makes it easier for us and our kids on how they behave in public because otherwise they know how to socialize. Yeah. But that is one big thing that we've done from the very beginning between my husband and I. We've always just known that that's not what we're going to do. Our kids are getting a little older, and so my daughter will use my phone to text her friends once in a while. But it just comes, like, if you have to bring your kids with, and if your client tells you no, like maybe the first time it's fine, but like if I had somebody who's like, I don't like kids, I'm like, not for us, not for me. Like, I just know my clientele, and if they're not going to be okay with it, or we're going to have to reschedule to another time, because sometimes you just don't have that opportunity to have somebody watch your kids. I have family around who does help fairly often. I don't have people like super close all the time. And fortunately now my kids are getting a little bit older, where if they could stay home for an hour or two, that's been a game changer. But it hasn't always been that easy. It has not. I'll tell you the story. When I got home from the hospital with my youngest on a Saturday. I was showing homes on Monday. And I remember I was standing inside the house. I was nursing her while they were outside. I saw them come in, so I had to adjust everything. They're like, we want to make an offer. I'm like, great. So we went back to the office, and my daughter was getting fussy. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm either going to have to step out and nurse her, or I can nurse her now and just write up the offer. And the wife was like, oh, just go ahead and nurse. You're fine. I had a cover, so it wasn't super awkward. And the husband was like, sounds good. So yeah, I was literally nursing her when she was like 3 days old, typing up an offer. I've been pulled over while I was pumping. Maybe that's too much information, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So.
Well, and you're the lesson here, which, oh my God, Shae, is so powerful. Being genuine. 95% of the time it's going to be, you are going to have the 5%. Don't bring your kids, or, hey, don't feed your kid now. Can you wait? And you adjust. But that's the thing people lose, especially in real estate.
Yeah.
Biggest purchase of your life, everybody building that credibility. Now I know why you and your husband are so successful. This is what a successful family looks like. Follow this lead. Talk about your podcast. You're excited about that too. And what's the name of it? And what are we doing on the podcast?
Yeah, so it's called Real Moms, as you can see up here. So it's resilient entrepreneurs and abundant living moms. So it's centered around mompreneurs. And full transparency, the reason this kind of came to fruition was actually right around 2 years ago to the day. I had a mental breakdown. I kind of know there's just a lot of different things piling up, but it was like I've always struggled with a little bit of anxiety and depression my entire life, which fine, I can navigate that and all the things. But this was like a mental breakdown I had never experienced before, to the point where I was getting people calling me wanting to list their house. I'm like, I can't. I mean, I wasn't turning people away. I was doing it, but it was the hardest thing. Like, and I'm a big fitness person. I really like to work out. And there was 2 weeks where I didn't work out at all. It was horrible. I don't even know how to explain it. I would cry every day. I lost 18 pounds. So I'm normally like 152 pound. I'm not a small person, but I'm not big. I lost 18 pounds. It was horrible. It was awful. I was sleeping an hour and a half. But anyway, I remember going on a walk one morning, and I remember trying to get myself to go on that walk was one of the mentally hardest things I had to do, but I did it because I knew the importance of being still, as my pastor would tell me I needed to do. He's like, you just
Amen.
need to be still. No music, no phone, go on a walk. And I can kind of talk about my prayer walk. John Gordon had encouraged me to do this. It was in one of his books. I talked to him about it. So I can talk about that a little bit, but that's what I did is I went to go on my prayer walk. And I thought it just came to me like I need to create a community of other mompreneurs who can confide in one another when we have these tough times. I don't care if you're brand new in the industry or any industry as an entrepreneur or 20, 25 years in the industry, you're going to have these struggles. Like I was 6 years into it, 5 years into it, and I at the top of my game, and I had a mental breakdown. And so I had reached out to a couple friends who didn't know each other, but I knew them. We started a community here in our area. We now meet twice a week. I'm sorry, every other Tuesday over the lunch hour. I bring in speakers of all sorts of different areas. Core values are faith, health, relationship, business, and finances. So I bring in speakers between all of those 5 core values that's centered around that, because it's not just about your business. It's not just about your finances. It's about the other 3 pillars too, because without the other 3 pillars, your faith, health, and relationships, you have nothing to stand on when your business crumbles. So then about 6 months into it, I had somebody, I think Icons of Real Estate. I don't know. I had an interview with EXP and somebody's like, you should do a podcast. And then it just kind of came to fruition. So it's kind of ties up that all together.
Yeah, it's really cool. I told you before in the green room before the show how I love podcast hosts. And can you tell us a story? I know this is hard for me. It'd be hard. What's one of your favorite shows that you've done or interviews you've done?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What's one of your favorite shows?
So actually, one of my favorite podcasts is The Mindset Mentor with Rob Dial. And that really has gotten me to where I'm at today, I would say. I've listened to so many of his podcasts. He's got over 1,800, maybe more now. I don't listen to them as much, but for the first probably 4 or 5 years, and then through my mental breakdown, I was listening to him. It's just all about mindset, and not only in business, but in life. Like your mind and your mindset is such a make or break. Your emotional intelligence is a make or break in any business, let alone life in general. You need to learn how to respond versus react. You need to be able to control your emotions. And that's just kind of what I would say that's my top podcast. He doesn't know it. Someday Rob and I might meet and he might thank me for sharing his information, but
yeah, and maybe he hears this and he wants to be a guest on your podcast,
right.
Which is fantastic.
Yes.
So a mompreneur home is much different than other homes. How do you define it, and how important is it for your work or work for a mompreneur?
Well, one, to make it work, I would say communication is the biggest thing between you and your spouse. My husband and I, we've battled up and down, good times, bad times when it comes to communication, because I think women do kind of fail at communicating. We think we communicate, but sometimes it's not effective because we might come off as needy or complaining, I guess you could say. So it's finding the right way to communicate to your spouse on what it is that you actually need. Because I think us women, we say the things, but men are very simple in all reality. They really are. If you just say, hey, Steve, I need you to do this. Most men are going to do it, but we as women kind of beat around the bush and hope that the men picks up on these cues and doing all those things. No, men are simple. Actually, I found this out about a year ago that a man can be in the nothing box. So my husband joke about that. Like he can literally think about nothing. Like, how is that even a thing? How do you do that? So I think men are so much simpler than we realize or expect, I guess. And women are very complex. And I know that. But
Yeah.
communication, I would say, is again, transparency. My husband and I got into I don't know if I would say an argument, but a discussion this morning because I failed to communicate. I really did. It was like a last minute thing, and I said something to him, and then I got upset, and he's like, again, communication. I'm like, oh, shoot. Ah, patronizing
Always
me.
working on that. Me and my wife say, man, I mean, couples, we could talk to a million. This is, you're always working on it. So you're never succeeding. You're never perfect at it, which is a great thing. And of course, God, gives us that call out to slow down a little bit. So we're coming close to the end here, but a question came in my mind about your children.
Uh-huh.
Now it's challenging being a mompreneur, and you've said some of the things, but that, comes to the territory. But what values are your children learning and skill sets that's going to help them in their future?
I'm hoping grit, compassion, empathy, like work ethic is huge, that you don't just get what you want. You have to work for it. My oldest started her own Simply You bracelet making. Now it's obviously pretty small, but she makes her own bracelets. I make her pay me back for the bracelets or the beads and stuff before she makes it, because she needs to understand that it's not just given to you. You have to work for things. Now my youngest is asking if she could buy the beads for my oldest so she could start doing them too. And she's 5, my youngest is. So she's going to start doing that as well, but I like seeing the grit that they have to make money, and that money doesn't just grow on trees. And you're not just going to get what you want. And if you want something, you got to work for it, and you use your own money. So last year, typically we don't do Halloween costumes because I think that they're kind of a waste of money. We'll just use like hand-me-downs. But this last year, I do. I think they're just a complete waste of money. Fireworks too, just burn your own
Yeah.
money, but whatever. My mom's birthday is on the 4th of July, so I kind of have to enjoy it. But last year I decided, okay, I'll give you guys each $20 to buy a Halloween costume. Well, my oldest, she found a very cheap one on Amazon for like $11. I'm like, perfect, done and done. I probably could have given her the difference, but I didn't. It was like a butterfly thing. Well, my son wanted a brown cop costume. So the only ones we could find were like $38. And I said, okay, Keeson, how much are you going to need to pay me? Because I'll give you 20. How much will you need to pay me? And he calculated it. He's like, well, $18. I'm like, okay, do you want to pay me $18? He's like, well, let me see if we can find something else. Well, anyway, he ended up finding this blow up dinosaur costume that ended up costing $23. And and that's what he wanted to do. So I paid the $20, and I 100% made him give me $3. I made him go into his piggy bank, count out the $3, and hand it over to me. I did sneak that money back into his piggy bank. I didn't tell him that, so he doesn't know. But that was the principle of it. It's money does not grow on trees. And I had some parents be like, oh, we'll just buy whatever they want. Most of our Halloween costumes are $50. I'm like, nah, not happening. They can buy the $50 costume for the rest of their 18 years. So
you nailed it. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. I want mompreneurs, not just me, but people with children. It's so powerful. What you set up today is going to make them for success. And I guess they're going to be their own thing, but you're setting them up, you and your husband. God, you guys are a beautiful couple. This is awesome. Learn more about mompreneurs. Let's end with a fun question. I always like to learn more about you. Yes. So I've got a table at a restaurant, table for 4. You're sitting in one of the chairs. In the 3 empty chairs, who would you invite to be at the table, whether they're dead or alive? And what food do you order for the table?
This is interesting because honestly, I would just pick my family, my husband and my 3 kids. I saw this video on people like asking their kids, who would you prefer to eat with? And every kid basically picked their family. Whereas us adults, we think of who is the most famous person we could sit down and eat with? Who do we idolize so much? And who is our mentor? I mean, I could go that direction for sure, but if I really truly had to come down to it, I would want to sit and eat with my family. And they would probably
Beautiful.
order chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, and then my husband and I would probably have some sort of Southwest chicken salad. So that's going to be my answer is my family.
And that says a
That's
lot
my
about you. And you're not, there's nothing wrong if you say your mentors, audience, and my guests have done that. This is why I love that question, because we know family's so important to you,
Yeah.
especially with both of you being, entrepreneurs and trying to make that work, which you are. So,
Mhm.
I'm really speechless. I'm blown away at such a young age. I'm 64, so you're young to me, but how you're really successful. But what you're doing is you're helping others and sharing your successes with other people. And that's a true servant's heart. And give a shout out. What's your husband's name?
His name's Adam.
Adam, shout out to you for making this work. We're always going to have challenges, but you guys are doing the great things and with the servant's heart. I know people listening are going, I want to be part of this mompreneur thing. How do I find Shae?
So you can actually find my podcast at realmomspodcast.com. You can also find me on Facebook or social media, and the handles are Shae J Spitz, so SHAE J for Joe, and then my last name's Spitz, SPITZ. So you can find me on Facebook. You can go to my website for real estate. That's homeswithshae.com. But hope to have you guys listening to my podcast as well and help however I can, because it's not always easy. And I will say my husband and I have gone through some hard times here recently where it's really humbled us and put a perspective on how important family truly is. So.
Yeah. Any relation to Mark Spitz, the swimmer?
No, but everybody always asks.
Yeah,
I'm not
sure they do.
With swimming. I can't swim very well. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just go right to the bottom. And thank you again, Shae. This has been a blessing. And audience, here's your subscribe to the YouTube channel. And it doesn't have to be mine. Subscribe to Shae's. And here's why. If somebody's listening to this and you're a mom out there and you share it with another mom who's really struggling, you just gave her a gift because she's listening. I mean, the passion that Shae has, they hear this, you just gave them hope and faith and the ability to get out of what they're in. Or maybe they become an entrepreneur, a mompreneur, and they make a little extra money or a lot of money. Share these podcasts, share Shae's podcast, make them gifts, and I guarantee you'll impact people's lives, bringing back that full circle. And me and Shae want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast, and we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with the Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.